Hey everybody, welcome to another con support video. This one's on equivalent expressions with negative numbers. So you can see here it says which of the following expressions are equivalent to -8 take away -1 take away 5. Well, the first thing you can do is you can just simplify it if you wanted to find out the value of that. But you don't really need to know the value of it. But what I would do is I would kind of just start by writing in the expression and then doing the most basic things to it. So, for example, when you look at this, you should be thinking, oh, I can rewrite all the subtraction as addition. So if I were to rewrite subtraction as addition, what would it look like? Well, taking away a negative is the same as adding a positive, and then taking away a positive is the same as adding a negative. So I would be thinking, okay, this is the same as -8 plus the opposite of -1, +1, plus the opposite of +5, -5. So this would be the same statement, right? Same expression, same value. So I look to see if I see that anywhere. -8 plus 1 plus -5. So -8 plus 1 plus -5. Okay, I don't see that exactly, but I do see -8 plus 1 minus 5, right? So it's like you changed this one, but we didn't change this one. And that's going to work, right? So you could think of this as just changing the first one, -8 plus 1 minus 5. That works because this is really worth a positive, right? This is really worth a positive. And this is really worth a negative. So -8 plus 1 minus 5 works fine. So that one we can put in here. So -8 plus 1 minus 5, that's the same thing. And then it says two answers. There's another answer that also works. So we have -8 take away 1 plus minus 5. Well, we know that that's going to be a plus 1 in the middle, so that's not going to work. We have -8 plus -1, -8 plus -1. Well, no, we know the middle one's a positive. That's not going to work, so we can eliminate that one. This one's going to be 8 plus 1 and then take away 5. It's like the sum of 8 and 1 and then take away 5. This is interesting. So what's the real value of all this, right? So if I were to evaluate this expression, we've got -8, +1, -5, or -8 plus 1 plus -5. Add up your total negatives, you get -13. And then add up your total positives, you get +1. Who's going to win? The negative by how much? 12. So you're looking at a value of -12, right? That's what this thing is worth. -8 plus 1 is -7. -7 plus -5 is -12. So if we know this is a value of -12, the other way to look at it is which ones are going to be a value of -12. Well, 8 plus 9 is, 8 plus 1 is 9, and 9 take away 5 is not going to be -12. But this one here is the negative, the quantity of 8 minus 1 plus 5. Now 8 minus 1 plus 5 is going to be 7 plus 5, which is 12 with a negative in front. So this is worth -12. So because we know the value of this is -12, I would say this is the same value. And since it's the same value, we call it an equivalent expression. So these are the two that will work. And so then I'll check. There we go. And then you go to the next one. So the next one is going to be, let's write this down, number 2. Okay, number 2 says -3, take away -5, and then +4. Now the first thing I would do is change your subtraction to addition, because that's most likely one of the answers, right? So let's change the subtraction to addition. And we can see that this would be then -3 plus the opposite of -5, which is +5, and then +4. All right. So we're looking for -3 plus 5 plus 4. And I see here -3 plus 5 plus 4. Yeah, so their first step is correct. They changed subtraction to addition. And then the next step that we would do is you would think about maybe you're doing a scoreboard, right? So you could put all your positives together, put all your negatives together. If you were to combine your positive values here, right? You were to combine your positive values, that's okay. What's 5 plus 4? 9. So then you would say that this is the same as -3 plus 9. Okay, cool. So I see that. That's it. That step 2 seems like it's okay. They just added the 5 and 4 together and they kept the -3 as a -3 in front. Okay, fine. It's kind of like they're doing a scoreboard. And then the last step they have there is -3 plus 9. Who's going to win? The positive by how much? 6. Well, yeah, that's correct, right? If you scoreboarded this, there'd be 9 on the positive side and 3 on the negative side. Who's going to win? The 9 by how much? What's 9 take away 3? 6. So I think that that's actually a perfectly good answer. So they think the answer is 6, and I think the answer is 6. So it says, find Amber's mistake. I don't think Amber made any mistake. So I'm going to say Amber did not make a mistake. Okay. All right, let's do the next problem. So the next problem is number 3. and it's 8 4/5. This one's a lot of writing. Maybe we don't need to write it all. Let's see. 8 4/5 plus the quantity of 3 2/10 take away 1 1/5. Well, what's the real sign on everything? That's a positive 8 4/5. When you distribute the positive through the parentheses, you're going to get a positive 3 2/10, and you're going to get a negative 1 1/5. So as long as you have a positive 8 4/5, a positive 3 2/10, and a negative 1 1/5 added together, you're probably just fine. So we take a look at the choices we have here. Here you've got a positive and a positive and then a positive. This is going to be a negative value, this 1 1/5. It's going to be subtracted no matter what we do. Because remember, it's going to be plus the quantity of this, which means plus this and plus this. So it's going to be plus a negative 1 1/5. So this one's wrong. We know A is not going to work. This one has a negative 1 1/5. That's good. And these two are positives, right? So it doesn't matter whether you group them together and add them first or however you want to handle that, because ultimately we're going to be adding all these values together. So if you want to add these first two first and then add the negative 1 1/5 at the end, that's fine. So B is a perfectly good interpretation of this. Basically, you're thinking, okay, what are we adding? We're adding this negative 1 1/5. Since we're adding all these values, we can use the associative property of addition to change the groupings. You slide the grouping over, and that's kind of what this comes from. So this is fine. This is perfectly fine. This one, you've got 8 4/5, take away the quantity of negative 3 2/10, take away 1 1/5. The problem here is that you're distributing a negative through the parentheses, which means that this is going to end up being a positive 3 2/10, which is what you want, but it's also going to be a positive 1 1/5. It's not what you want. So this one's not going to work. This one's 8 4/5 plus 3 2/10, take away 1 1/5, which is the same as plus negative 1 1/5. This is fine. This works fine. These are the same. It doesn't matter whether you do this part first and then add the 8 4/5, or you just do it two at a time left to right. It's going to get the same answer because you have the right signs on all the terms. So this is perfect. And it says choose 3 answers, so I'm assuming this one might be right. Let's find out. What's a negative times a negative? Positive. Yeah. What's a negative times a negative? Positive, yeah. And then plus a negative. So this is perfect. So the signs and everything is appropriate. Remember, you want to have a positive this, and a negative that. And we're good. All right, and then the next one is going to be a little bit easier to write, so I'll write this one out. So this one we're going to write out. This one is negative 4 plus the quantity of 4 plus 5. Well, what's this really worth? If you were to analyze it, you do the 4 plus 5 first. So ultimately, you end up with negative 4 plus 9. And who's going to win, positive or negative? And I think we all can understand that the positive is going to win by 5. So the answer there is that you're going to get positive 5 as a value. So whatever you pick here has to have a value of positive 5. That's one thing. And then when we look at it, what's the sign going to be on each of these things? Well, it's going to be a negative 4, a positive 4, and a positive 5, and they're all being combined. That's really negative 4 plus 4 plus 5, because you can distribute that positive through the parentheses, and it's going to be a positive 4 and a positive 5. So I'm looking for a negative 4, a positive 4, and then a positive 5. Negative 4, positive 4, positive 5, all added together. Can I do the first two before I do the adding 5? Yes, this is fine. Negative 4, negative 4. No. It should be a positive 4. Positive times 4 is positive 4. This is not right. This one here is negative the quantity of 4 minus 4, which is really a negative 4, and then a negative times a negative is a positive, so it'll be plus 4. So this one's going to come out to being basically negative 4 plus 4, which is okay. And then plus 5. Yeah, this one's fine. This one will work. Because if you look at it, this one's worth 0, right? This one's worth negative 0, which is still 0. So this all goes away and you're left with just the 5, which is what you want. 5 is the value. So this one works okay. This one is a negative 4 plus a negative 4 plus a 5. Well, the problem is that second negative 4, it shouldn't be negative. It should be positive. So this is wrong. And this one's negative 4 plus 4 plus 5. Do it 2 at a time, you get 0 plus 5, which is 5. So this one works just fine. So these are the 3 that work and have a value of 5. And that's how you do the problems.